Every morning, at exactly 4 a.m., a brass bell echoed through the village. For nearly 40 years, that sound never wavered. It didn't stop for the freezing winters or the summer storms. It didn't even stop on the morning the old farmer buried his wife. To the neighbors watching from their windows, the routine seemed like an obsession. They saw an old man who was simply too stubborn to change his ways or enjoy his rest. But as the years passed, Thomas's farm thrived while others failed. The villagers looked for a reason, convinced he had a hidden talent for reading the soil, or that he had simply been born with better luck than the rest of them. The truth was less glamorous. Thomas's success was the mathematical result of showing up when it was difficult. While talent and luck arrived in flashes, his bell proved that the person who moves every single day eventually outruns everyone else. Daniel arrived in the village with the kind of ambition that burns bright. He wanted the big house, the respect of his peers, and the wealth that Thomas had accumulated. But Daniel had a problem. He only worked when his mood allowed it. He was a slave to how he felt when he opened his eyes in the morning. First in the fields on Monday, sleeping until noon by Wednesday, 10 hours of sweat one day, then giving up after 30 minutes because the spark was gone. This graph shows why Daniel was stuck. Look at these spikes. They represent his bursts of inspiration, the days he felt ready. But because that feeling is a chemical high, it always crashes. And look at the progress line at the bottom. It hasn't moved an inch. Desperate to understand why, Daniel followed the sound of Thomas's bell, looking for a secret technique to get ahead quickly. Daniel spent his evenings exhausted, convinced he was giving it his all, but he was confusing intensity with effectiveness. Working like a hero twice a month doesn't build a farm. It just creates a cycle of burnout and stagnation. When Daniel asked for this secret, Thomas didn't offer a strategy or a shortcut. He simply handed him a seed and told him to water it every single morning. For the first few days, Daniel was energized. He treated the task with a sense of ceremony, believing that a grand transformation was just around the corner. But a week passed, then a month. Every day he carried the water. Every day the soil looked exactly the same. There was no sprout, no color, and no reward for his effort. The inspiration that carried him through the first week was gone. Daniel finally dropped his bucket in the mud, shouting that the old man was mocking him and that the daily chore was a waste of his life. Daniel reached the point where most people stop. When the initial excitement of a new goal dies and the results haven't appeared yet, the work starts to feel like a lie. If you rely on a feeling to keep you going, this silence in the dirt is where you quit. Thomas ignored the outburst. He simply gestured toward the horizon, where the sun was beginning to hit his own golden wheat fields. He asked Daniel if he thought the sun waited until it felt inspired to rise, or if the seasons only changed when they felt like they were in the right mood. The natural world doesn't operate on opinions or readiness. It functions on a schedule. The rain falls and the sun rises, because that is what they are built to do, regardless of the conditions. Thomas explained that achievement follows the same logic. A farmer who only plants when the weather is perfect and his mood is high will eventually starve. The person who feeds the village is the one who shows up on the mornings he hates the work. He waters the seeds even when he's convinced they'll never grow. Success requires a total divorce from your internal state. You don't do the work because you feel like it. You do it because the clock says it's time. That night, Daniel stopped looking for a reason to feel motivated. He realized the seed didn't care about his frustration. It only cared about the water. Long before the first light of the next morning, a second bell joined the first. It wasn't a burst of new energy. It was the start of a cold, deliberate habit. Years passed. Daniel was no longer the impatient young man looking for a shortcut. He became one of the most successful men in the region, with fields that rivaled Thomas's. His transformation didn't come from a sudden flash of genius. It came from the thousands of unglamorous mornings where he did exactly what was required, especially when he didn't want to. Every morning now, the village hears two bells. They serve as a constant reminder that the secret to a great harvest isn't found in a mood, but in a routine. Motivation may get you started, but only discipline can get you finished.